This video is going to cover the divisional mini round robin score sheet and how to fill it out during a tournament, a mini round robin tournament during the playoffs. So these score sheets are generally coordinated where there are 3 teams that are involved in the mini round robin tournament, and the top team on the list here at the bottom is the one that did the poorest in the regular season between the 3 teams as far as results in the standings. Okay, that's why we call it an underdog in this example. The middle team was the one that had the second best record of the 3 teams in the regular season in the standings. The top dog was the team that did the best amongst the 3 teams. It may not be the best in the division, but the best amongst these 3 teams. Okay, so generally what we do is we have the lowest seed, the team that did the poorest in the regular season, play the first 2 games of the round robin. The middle team plays the first and the third game, and the top dog plays the last 2 games. Okay, because we usually like to leave the last game for the top 2 seeds, because chances are, although certainly not guaranteed, that's why we play the game, but chances are that those 2 teams will probably do the best in the mini round robin and should play at the end. So it makes it a little more exciting when you're playing the inside of that mini round robin. So the idea of this score sheet is simply to mark down the game scores as they are played during the match. Okay, so I have done a little bit of mathematical work on the spreadsheet so that the differentials will show up here at the bottom as the scores are entered. The point differentials that are used here are more for information, and it also helps with the plus minus calculations, which is on the right hand side. I think for the purpose of this video we won't get into it too much. The plus minus is needed and is important, but it's only needed if there's a tiebreaker. Okay, so during the mini round robin there are 3 matches. So the end result will be either one of 2 things. Either one team will win both matches that they play, because everybody plays 2 matches each, and so their record would be 2 wins and 0 losses for the evening. And then that would mean one team would be 1-1, and one team would have 0 wins and 2 losses. That's one scenario. The other scenario, and it's the only other option or only other thing that can happen, is that all 3 teams end up winning 1 match and losing 1 match. In that situation, you need to have these differentials to figure out who actually came out on top, because you have to have tiebreakers. Because the whole objective of this is to determine who's going to advance in the playoffs to get a chance to get to the championship, either in the next round or the round after that. Okay, so that's how this sort of the mindset behind it works. Okay, so let's look at the example of when a game is being played. So best thing to do, I suggest, is to print it out on a piece of paper and then mark in the scores. Now, of course, if you have little note-taking devices on your smartphone and it won't accidentally get erased, you're pretty good with it, then by all means you can keep it on your smartphone. But do whatever way is most comfortable, and do it in a way that the scores cannot get lost or damaged or whatever in the process, because they're going to be important if you end up in a tiebreaker situation. Okay, so first game of the night, underdog team playing the middle team. Final score, underdog 19, middle team 25. So these games are being played at 25 points. You only have an hour to play them, but they're only the best of 3, not the best of 5 like you have in the regular season in a regular game. So you should be able to get them started as long as you don't take too long to warm up or start the game or have really long breaks in between games. That's important too. So as you can see, the point differential is -6. So technically the underdog team is a -6 in game 1, and the middle team is a +6 for game 1. All right. Second set, underdog team comes back and wins 25-17. So that was a really good comeback for the underdogs. And so very important now in that situation that you do play a third set, because nothing has been decided as far as the match yet. So the game gets played, and the underdogs manage to pull out the upset and beat the middle team 25-22. Okay, I'll just show you the plus-minus differential for this one game. We won't do it on the other 3 games, but just to let you know how I figure it out. So the -6 differential is basically what the underdog team got, because it was the underdog score minus the middle team score. So the first game would have been -6. The second game, because they won, it was a +8. So -6 + 8 is +2. Okay, And then you have the third game differential, and because underdog won again, it's +3, so they end up with a total of +5. And that means that the other team, the middle team, got the inverse of that, which would be -5. These two numbers will always match numerically, except one will be a plus and one will be a minus. Okay? That's all I'll say about the plus-minus differential for now. We won't get into tiebreakers and all of that kind of stuff. If you kind of know how it works, then obviously you can figure out a tiebreaker at the end of the night if you need to. But the key thing is to just mark down all the scores and then submit it into the league where we can figure out the tiebreakers, just in case, okay? So that's the most important part. So game 2, what happens in game 2? So underdog team is playing the top dog team now, and they lose the first game 19-25. Again, losing by 6. But then instead of winning the second game like they did in game 1, they lost again, so 16-25. But notice here that the top dog team wins the first 2 games. So you say, okay, well, the match is over because top dogs won the game, because there's no way the underdogs can come back and win this match. But because it's a situation where you could end up with a 3-way tie at the end of the night, you still have to play that third set. So you play that game. So as it turns out, the underdog team, loosey-goosey, nothing to lose at this point. They knew that they had a chance still, so they ended up defeating the top dogs in that third team. Top dogs took it a little too easy, and so the underdogs win by 4 as a result, okay? The plus-minus, we can figure that out another time. Third game, what happens there? Okay, so now it's the middle team's turn to play top dogs. They end up winning that first game, 25-19. Game 2, they kind of fell asleep. Lost 14-25, and so now they have to play that third game because no one's won this match yet. So it's important to figure out who's going to win. So actually the middle team pulls out the upset and they win 25-19. So there's lots of different ways that the tiebreakers can work. Gets a little complicated, but just again, the key thing is you don't have to figure out the tiebreakers if it's too confusing or too complicated. But the key thing is to play all your games and mark them all down on the score sheet and then submit them to the league. That is the crucial part here, because we have to determine, sometimes we have to determine where each team finishes as well. So that's why it's important to keep track of all the game results, but only for these mini round robins. It doesn't apply in any other playoff game. But that gives you an idea of how this works. And again, you can either submit it by taking a picture of the score sheet, the physical score sheet if you put it on paper, and then email it in, or if you put it on a spreadsheet or on a PDF, and you can submit the digital version of that, or you can transcribe it in an email and send that into the league. Please send it in as soon as you can, like within 24 hours after the mini round robin gets played, so that we can determine how things finished and we can move on to create the next round of matchups, basically, for the tournament. But if you have any questions, by all means, email the league at info@nofrillsvolleyball.com. Good luck to everybody. Have fun. These can actually be quite fun, but you really have to watch your time and keep things on time. It's okay to shorten your third games if you have to, but make sure you decide that before you start playing the third game. Don't be cutting it off halfway through the game, because that doesn't, bode well for the teams enjoying that situation. So be really mindful of time when you're doing this. All right, that covers it. Thanks for watching, and I hope this will actually help and not confuse.